What's going on, YouTube? Back with another video. I know we missed 1 week, but I'm gonna recap on that. I went to Africa Tech Fest, so took a little break. Not only that, y'all, I don't know if y'all realize, um, on my ex, I shared that there's an influencer out there that's kind of like taking my videos and kind of like rewording them, but still kind of the same thing. And when I took that week off, I saw that they also took a week off. So just crazy how that's playing out. But we're back. I'm gonna keep it going. And yeah. But before I hop into this, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications so you do not miss these videos when they come out. Now, the giveaway. I know everybody is wondering, like, are you gonna do the giveaway? Yes, I just need to find a way to choose the winners. Like, I probably have to like figure out how to do it. I'll probably do another one because I was depending on Grok, but I guess they don't allow like engagement farming anymore. So Grok doesn't work to choose the winner. So I will look into it to come up with the winners for that competition. But yeah, let's pretty much start basis on, and let's go back to last week to see what we missed. Well, we didn't miss it, just to recap what happened. So last week we saw some inflation data and come out in China, which was it was a good sign. Not the best, but if you understand the situation in China, then you know like the increase in inflation isn't a good sign. But it definitely gave the one some strength over the last weekend, but nothing too crazy. Um the biggest thing that I really want to talk about is the Euro employment data, which came out extremely bad. Wages are falling, unemployment rate picked up big time, and claimant count change jumped up drastically. So, I've been short on the pound since I kind of started doing these live streams, and the pound against the dollar has been playing out perfectly on our shorts. I know it's a hedge, but when the fundamentals is pushing the sentiment, you just got to follow it. Um, that was really the biggest thing that came out last week. We saw CPI in Europe also tickle up a little bit, which is also not a good sign for Europe. Germany, France, they're all hurting pretty much. We saw unemployment change come out on Thursday for Australia, which was quite solid. Hey, I wouldn't be surprised if these numbers don't last long. Like if you see the revisions, they kind of already is starting to crack. I'm not. This is just short term for the Aussie, dollar. The labor market is definitely still weak with these underlying pressures. Like literally, you can see it. So yeah. GDP in Europe also pulled back. Like I said, UK is just weakening. That's just what's happening. Well, everybody is weakening. It's a global slowdown. Even America. I'm gonna hop into what comes out this week. But if you've been listening to the rhetoric around the US and the labor market, definitely they're hinting at some weakness. But that pretty much was it. And then we ended the week with Kashkari. Well, I think he was on like Thursday. Let me see. He was on Thursday. He spoke and he was pretty hawkish. All the FOMC members have been pretty neutral to a more of a hawkish hold. That's kind of how like everybody been kind of like pushing the rhetoric more like, yes, I supported the rate cuts in the past because the labor market started to crack, but in the future, I don't know if we should keep cutting to get ahead of ourselves. Demand comes back if the Feds cut rates. So I know it looks ugly that inflation is going up, the labor market looks bad, and the Feds are probably still going to hold. But that's pretty much because the Feds have shifted their focus on price stability than the labor market. Because if you really look at the labor market, it's not that weak. But that's all pretty much what we had last week. Now this week we are loaded. If you're not aware, September data NFP that we missed in October is going to come out this week. October CPI data that's supposed to come out in November. I don't think we're gonna get that data ever in life, because when the government was shut down, they couldn't really get the data to get that data. So I think we probably don't get that data for that, the data that was supposed to come out in the first week of November. So now, here's my take. Well, before I get into US, Canada CPI data comes out on Monday. They are expecting some sideways data, but listen, Canada has been kind of picking up. Let's see what the CPI was last. I mean, expect what the markets expect. Month over month, they're expecting an increase. Year over year, they're expecting a decrease. I think in Canada, they really look at common CPI, trim, and come. I know in Australia they use trim CPI to gauge the central bank rhetoric, but I think Canada is the common. But we'll see. Um, Japan at the top of the week, nothing too crazy. We get that GDP preliminary GDP data quarter over quarter, and it does not look good. Coming in on Monday. Then we get more Fed speaks. We get the monetary policy meetings for Australia. That's going to be pretty nice to look at, depending, especially coming after that strong CPI and that strong labor data. Kind of curious to see. They probably keep this hawkish rhetoric. We'll see. And then we get wage price index from Australia. I think that may be the first one that starts to crack. I definitely think the wages are what's gonna really mess up Australia. And then we get CPI for UK on Wednesday. We also get the Fed's minutes on Wednesday. Also, pretty much, I'm leaning towards hawkish hold. And then Thursday we get that NFP data from September. Now, here's my take on this data from September. If you owned a business and your business shut down in October and some of November, are you going to care about what the company did in September? No. Two things. Markets have already priced in bad, misscrewed data. The data is screwed from the labor market. So institutions aren't really caring about the previous data. The feds are going to make policy based on the data that comes out in December from November. Now, I think that data is probably going to be some solid data for the labor market. The labor market is not that weak. Yeah, it's adjusting from the hiring boom that came after COVID, but I mean, as long as wages keep up, and wages kind of have been holding up. They've been holding up. So, I mean, if the wages stay up, even if inflation is picking up, the Fed still can't cut. Also, if you've been looking at unemployment claims, they haven't been bad recently in September. So this September data, look, this data in September, I don't know if that NFP data is going to be weak, y'all. A lot of people are forecasting it to be weak because of all the revisions, all the talk, all the job cuts. But if you look, the only data that would probably come out completely bad is October data if we get it. Only reason why is because when the government shut down and the people do not go to work, that will show up in BLS. But that's not an economic collapse. That's the feds will know why that labor report was bad. So overall, I don't think that the markets are really caring about the labor market. It's weak, but it's not collapsing. Unemployment claims are kind of giving us a picture. Also, if you look at that NFP, I mean the ADP NF the ADP non-farm payroll data that came out at the top of November, that was the only report that came out. And a lot of people was expecting that to be negative. Let's see if I can find it right here. A lot of people was expecting this data to be negative, and it actually came out solid. Came in at 42K. Markets was expecting 32, a jump up from that previous negative 20, negative 29. So listen, that September report, that I'll be honest. This is kind of like my take. I think that report is gonna come out negative, right? The report's gonna come out negative. The markets are gonna price in another rate cut, and the markets then are not going to care about the rate cut from that data because the Feds aren't going to care about that data. That data is like nobody cares about it. It's long gone. So markets probably react on vibes, but I don't think it's going to change the Fed rhetoric around what they're going to do with interest rate cuts. Now, the data that comes out in December definitely will give them a rhetoric. All right, now let's go back to all right, next week, Thursday, unemployment claims. Um, that was that. Unemployment rate that's still trickling around 4.3, y'all. The US unemployment rate is extremely low. Until we really get to like 5%, like UK, Europe, Canada, around those areas, the US got the strongest labor market. There's no rush to cut for the labor market. And then demand is also still strong. Consumer confidence that came out recently was pretty much strong. There are economists that are expecting the holiday spend to hit record levels, $1 trillion in retail sales coming in for the holiday season. And people are spending because consumer credit that came out, let's see, consumer credit came out last week, if I'm not mistaken, or the week before last. Hold on, let me see. I think it was the week before last. Yeah, I'm looking for consumer credit. Let's do this. That consumer credit report actually came in quite strong. Dun, dun. Right here, consumer credit that came in on number, it came in strong, and then it was revised up. Not only that, not final, ISM services PMI was also strong. So the U.S. whenever the service sector is booming, the labor market tends to boom because you need people to hire to fulfill that demand in the service sector. So that also can be a sign. Now, the manufacturing hasn't been doing good since Joe Biden. Like, it just hasn't been doing good. That's why Trump is trying to save it. Like, this is all under Joe Biden. It was horrible. Yeah, so I'm not even caring about the manufacturing side of things. America is more of a service based economy. So yeah, that's what we got there. Let's go back to this week. That's pretty much what we got on the economic calendar this week. Nothing too crazy. It is jam packed. That's good. So we will get some volatility. But listen, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if that data do come out negative. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out positive. But I honestly don't think it matters really, to be honest. Then at the end of the week, on Friday, is the jam packed day. Europe is really going to show its colors when it comes to this PMI data. It's definitely going to give us a sign. And then we get some more PMI data from America. We get some good stuff on the economic calendar. So solid week this week. But nothing that should blow your account. Now, let's go hop over to the fun stuff. Technical analysis. Now, I know we took a break, but ain't nothing wrong with that. We'll just kind of recap what happened. So back when we started this, we was trading like right here in this zone because we was trading here. Let's just say because we broke out. Yeah, I think we was trading here. Oh, this thing is black. Let's change this. I'm like, why is this black? All right, so we was if I'm not mistaken, y'all, we was trading this I might have to go back to the video, but I think we was trading in this zone right here. Really, I think it was here, but we about to see because I remember from this low to this high. Yep, boom. That's what we was trading. Then the dollar took off. So from the low to the high, it extended straight to the fib. So it was definitely time for that pullback. Now, last week we had that pullback on a dollar, which was expected, back down to that range that we broke out of. So it's a break and retest, clear as day. So we pull back, break, and this actually might be a really good support to leveraging the dollar on the 1 hour. And I posted this on my Twitter. I don't know if you guys saw it. I didn't talk about it because I just wanted to see who was gonna pay attention. But if you look at this, oops. This was the trade right here. It's the same thing. So yeah, I was expecting the dollar to come back to that support around 99, which that was like a good buy. I actually bought it when it hit below 99. So I expect price to continue to probably move up, and that next wave is gonna probably send it and break out, or it can just come back up there and consolidate. But I wouldn't be surprised if we break out this week. Now the only thing is we are gonna pull back after we break out, and I think we'll pull back down to that little gap that's right there. Let's change that. Come back to this gap. And there's another reason why I said that, because now that we got this support and we got this range, we kind of can see where price will continue to where price will pull back to after it breaks out. So the only thing you gotta do is measure from the low to the high, which is like here. Bring that 50 up to that breakout, and then boom. And I really pull this up to the 50 right there, bro. All right. And if you see, we'll probably pull back on that retest back to here, somewhere right here, before we continue, before the next breakout. So that's pretty much how I see the dollar playing out. Breakout, pull back, breakout. I think people are going to start buying the dollar when it gets right around here, and then they'll get liquidated when they pull back. They'll start buying the dollar around there, and then when they start buying, it'll pull back. That's when we go in and buy again, and then we catch the play. So that's pretty much what's been happening. I'm gonna delete this, y'all. So right now on the 1 hour, we are down at the lower Bollinger, and on the 4 hour, we're right at the 200-day. So that is a bullish sign opportunity. If you on my X, I try to give these signs when I post so y'all can, if you understand, but I like to bring them to light too. So today I tweeted, where is it? Hold on. Y'all can't find it. I can't find it. Okay, here we go. When the 4 hour pulls back to the middle band and the 1 hour pulls back to the lower band at the same time, that's a high probability long entry setup. So right now we're at the middle band. Boom. Now if I zoom into the 1 hour at that middle band, you can see that we're down at the lower Bollinger. These are the clear indications that you should buy. Here's why. If I go back to the 4 hour and I wanted to highlight this zone where it touched the 200-day, this zone where it came and touched the 200-day, this zone where it came and touched the 200-day, and then I was to zoom into the 1 hour, I can see every time it's at the lower Bollinger, which this would have been a great buy, this would have been a great buy, this would have been a great buy, which made this a great buy. So that's pretty much that's what I've been following. Still on the daily, we are below the 200-day, so that's great. That's another sign that we can also buy it because the risk to reward is in our favor. So on that 1 hour, definitely a great opportunity. Also, you're buying below a gap. You can't sell below a gap. So the best thing to do is to buy it. And then when it fills that gap, that's an easy take home profit. But I think we're going to break out and go higher. All right, moving on. S&P, oops. Still doing the same thing, y'all. I'm just waiting for the pullback. On the 1 hour, It's starting to break low. I'm just waiting for the pullback. I mean, it's not much you can do. If you want to sell it, sell it. But I'm waiting for the pullback. Bitcoin breaking down on this Sunday. I was telling y'all to short this bad boy. Let me just delete everything on this really quick. We've been talking about shorting this back here at 116. We are down from that short already about 17%, which is nice. Now 4 hour, we are below the lower Bollinger, and then if I go to the 1 hour, we are below. We're at the lower Bollinger, so that's a bearish sign. That's not good. So on the daily, we definitely look like we can break out of this lower Bollinger. Now here's the thing: I like to look at Bitcoin on like the 6 month time frame. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. I mean, I think that's our high. If I go to the 3 month, sorry, 1 month, we already had them close on those bearish candles, and that bad boy looked like Bitcoin can hit 70K very soon before we get like the next, probably, let's see, y'all, this don't look good. The next strongest level of support is at like 60K, right around here, and that's like on that retest. If you see, we broke out. We broke out, came back, retested. So now we can come back here and consolidate, or come back up and consolidate back to like 100K. But if that 200 day don't hold, which I think is definitely gonna hold, I don't think it's just gonna be a massive breakdown. Um, if anything, that consolidation will probably play out in that phase. So don't try to sell too low. Getting close to that 73K. Let's go back to that monthly. Yeah, that's right at that support. And that's the liquidity. Well, the liquidity grab zone is really below 57 down here around. Ooh, y'all, this does not look good for Bitcoin. Well, it does because we need to buy it. So we need this bad boy to come down some more. A lot. But that's about another. So really about another 60%, a 60% fall, 50 to 6% fall to the downside. Yikes. That does not look good. Let's go look at the daily to see where that daily support. Yeah, this just don't look good, y'all. If anything, if I measure this from the low to the high, squeeze this bad boy out. Yeah. Yeah. Before next bounce, we at least gonna fall to like 79, maybe like 75. Yikes. So just keep holding that bad boy. I mean, if you look at it on the 1 hour, the only way you can get in this short if it spiked back up to like 109, and then but it's been rejecting that 200 day on the 1 hour, so it's technically like trended down. But I wouldn't be surprised if we get a relief rally, and then once it goes higher, you probably can short it again at 108. But you cannot sell this right now. You can, but it's not. I wouldn't advise it. You can buy it, you can sell it, but if I wouldn't advise you to. The 4 hour, it literally broke below the lower Bollinger. So we could get a little relief rally back up to like, yeah, like 100, even like 106, because price has been getting to that 200 day on the 4 hour. But for me in Bitcoin, I like to zoom out. I mean, I've been shorting this bad boy really since 92, actually. I've been shorting it since 92. So that's my lowest short. So from 92 all the way back up to 120, I've been selling it. So all of my Bitcoin shorts are now moving into profit, literally all of them. And that's just it. It's okay to be early, just don't be late. All right, Euro USD. I mean, we still below our sell above levels, so I mean we are in profit. But on the 4 hour list, I mean on the 1 hour, we are starting. We all right. So let's kind of go back from when we before we took our break. We shorted this bad boy over here at right around like 116. We got that massive push to the downside. Price came back up and it's retesting that middle Bollinger Band in that structure, which is kind of expected. I would at least expect it to come back and test the support that it broke, which was like right around 115 right here. Because y'all remember, this is that range that we was trading from 117 really to 115, but we broke below it, so we fell into profit. Price pushed it all the way back up to that mid area. So I honestly think this is a nice short on the euro against the dollar because we are at the top Bollinger. And then if I go to the 4 hour, I'm sure we're pulling back to the 200 day. Exactly. So the same thing with the dollar. This is just inverse. So the 4 hour, if it's pulling up to the 200 day and it's at the top Bollinger on the 1 hour, that's a prime setup for a short. So I think that's a great short back to move low. And then if you go look at the daily, we still are above the 200 day. So you're supposed to sell above the 200 day, not buy. So yeah, you just can't sell below the 200 day. So definitely think we can go lower. Risk reward is still in your favor. Nice short on Euro USD. Uh, let's go to GBP USD. GBP USD. Let's just go to that monthly to see where we at. Y'all, we ate this bad boy. This bad boy is in free fall on the monthly, below the sell, above level. So we are in profit. Going to that 1 hour. Last before we took the break, we were trading up here. We broke massively low, y'all. We broke massively low last week. I was expecting that pullback to that support that we broke out of around 132.6. We're trying to get up there. I wouldn't be surprised if we do probably still get that pullback, even up to like this middle section before we continue down. But UK is pretty weak, y'all, and the data is showing it. So I'm still bearish on this bad boy. So I'm holding my shorts. If we go high up to like 133.5, I'm definitely getting me some more shorts for sure. That's a nice pullback. We're not at that top Bollinger yet, but on the 4 hour, we're also not even at the 200 day. So if we can get above or close to the 200 day on the 4 hour, and then on the 1 hour, we can get above that Bollinger, which is in that zone, then that's when we will get the shorts. If not, it could just keep falling. USDJPY, solid. I mean, let's go to the daily on this bad boy. I mean, clearly we look like, all right, so there is a gap on UJ. I don't think it's going to get filled. When the markets gap in the direction of the trend, don't expect for them to close. That's just me. I don't. And I also don't buy above them. But in this case, I've been taking some opportunities. But last week we was trading. Let's go back to the 1 hour. All right, so back over at the end of October, we were trading at the 200 day. We broke out, we pulled back down. I got more entries on the 200 day, and yeah, we just trading up. Now, this pretty much just looked like we can head straight to 160 soon. I think UJ is going to be at 160 very, very soon. That daily, the 4 hour is strong. Price is holding way above the 200 day, and on the daily, it's literally look like it's about to break out. Once it's clear at 155, the next biggest high is right around 161. So then that now we start getting into intervention level. And if you think about it, if Japan come out with this stimulus and print a trillion yen, that's gonna hurt the yen even more with this whole new stimulus package. So I'm still pretty bullish on UJ, bearish on the yen, pretty much. AUD USD, this bad boy is still trickling down. Like I said, the labor market data has really been holding it up, especially with that CPI data. But if we look at it from the monthly perspective, I mean, we are way in shorts. We're deep in profit. We were selling above over here. So we needed that pullback to push up. Risk reward still kinda in your favor. But on the 1 hour, let's see. 1 hour, we really wanted the shorts up here, which is what we got last week. That is when the 4 hour pullback to, I think, the 200 day. Yeah, pulled back above the 200 day, and we got those shorts. So now we're at the 200 day on a 4 hour, and we're a little bit above the 200 day. I mean, I don't think it's too bad to short, but your stop definitely have to be above this high. So you gotta expect some pullback and just take advantage of it if it do pull back, because that could be a range that it can consolidate back up to. But if we close below this 200 day, then price is probably just gonna fall lower. But definitely look for highs in this market to short on the 1 hour. Yeah, look for highs. NZD USD, y'all, we ate on this bad boy too. Like it literally did. It broke low, came back, it's retesting that support that I expected that to fall below. Still a bit, it's extremely low on the monthly. Like, yeah, the monthly support is listed. We sold this over here. So this is how low he is. You can't do nothing in this market but just watch it fall. That's it. Literally, that is it. Unless it pushes all the way back up to what's that, around 65, 64? No, actually 64. That's the only time you really can get a short, and I don't see that happening no time soon. Not even in like the next 6 months. USDCHF still down there, close to that buy below level. I mean, I think these are the nice buys. We are at the lower Bollinger on the 4 hour, and we're at the lower Bollinger on the 1 hour. From a hedge perspective, this is a solid buy. Just watch your risk, especially on the monthly. The monthly give you the cleanest setup though. USD CAD, I mean, this bad boy is still just going. We way above our buy below level on the monthly. So we are in some nice profits. On the 1 hour, we just consolidating, holding that range. We broke out we broke out from the last couple of live streams to the upside, and now we pulled back. So just like that Euro USD, how we pulled back to that 200 day middle line, the same thing here. I think this could be a nice bounce also back to the upside. It's like clear as day. Literally clear as day. So that's pretty much what we got this week. So far, all of my analysis still the same. Dollar longs this week. Euro is probably gonna be our weak bad boy. Same thing with the pound. I think everything is gonna be weak against the dollar this week. And the greenback may surprise everybody, even with that negative NFP report that's probably going to come out from September. Stock markets definitely won't like that report, especially if it erased the rhetoric of, especially if it kills the earnings side of things. I just don't think that September data is gonna scream the Fed needs to cut rates. I don't think they're gonna care too much, like I said earlier. But I definitely think the November report that comes out in December is going to be very crucial. And the unemployment claims give us the sign. But like I said, we had that NFP, ADP, that private sector data that came out strong, and people really expected that to be really, really bad. So this week is a jam-packed week, people. Trade responsibly, but not too bad. It's definitely some opportunities out there. Especially in the major Forex pairs, for sure. But that's all I got. Bitcoin is melting, y'all. Literally, while we on here, it's just melting us up. Let's zoom in on Bitcoin. Let's go to like the 5 minute. Ooh, that boy just melted. looks about to continue to break lower. Bitcoin is gonna be at 75 very soon. But y'all, that's all I got for y'all. Hit our mark today. I will do a midweek recap on Wednesday. I'll upload it. So just remember to turn on your notifications. But that's all I got for y'all today. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. If you guys have questions about what I discussed, I will be in the comments reading your feedback. But that's all I got for you guys today.